One last thing I want to pivot to before we wrap this up, and that is the Paris Olympics have recently ended.
Yes.
I ended up watching way more of the Olympics. When Ellie, who is staying with us this summer, by the way, Ellie asked me, are you interested in the Olympics? And I said, nah, not really. Maybe women's soccer, maybe a couple other events. The track and field, I'm always down for. Gymnastics, Simone Biles, of course, all those.
Sounds like you like a lot of that.
Yeah, well,
No,
I mean,
you just said you only killed. Now you just
there's
listed all of them.
so many events though, and I was like, and like 3 years ago, it wasn't really. I don't know. I didn't follow too much of it, so I said no, and then I ended up watching so much of it. So then I became curious. I was wondering like how many Americans or tourists, basically from all over the world, actually went to Paris for the Olympics, right? So I have some news, and this is a little segment I'm calling Paris Olympics versus Airbnb hosts.
Oh,
ready?
Bring it. Mm-hmm.
Here's a little report I wrote up. In early 2024, Parisian Airbnb hosts were salivating at the prospect of making oodles of euros while visitors from afar filled their flats and apartments in anticipation of seeing Paris and their favorite Olympians compete. How did they do? As of early July, most of their dreams were not a reality. Much of the reason for this is their fellow French citizens had the same idea. What would normally be an Airbnb inventory of 65,000 homes was now a bursting supply of over 145,000.
Oh my gosh.
Boom. Almost 3 times as much. Turns out many of those living in Paris also wanted to cash in on renting their apartments or homes and taking that money with them on a 2-week holiday away from the crowds of Paris, potential for terrorisms, petty crime, and closed down routes to go to work, everything that comes basically with a major event in a major city, right? So some Parisians reported originally listing their flats at 1,000 euros, then 500.
Which is roughly like $1,300 in American dollars.
Yeah, per night.
Oh, per night. I thought you meant for the week.
Per night part
you did, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Did you think it was per week? Because I thought it was for the week.
Per night. No, they were going for the big gouge. I don't know. I think gouge is actually a French word.
Oh, okay. Well, they nailed
the
it.
Gouge. Anyway, then they dropped him to 500 when that wasn't working out. And then by July, 350, then 250. And one lady finally said she lowered hers to 160 per night. And an American took the bait and rented it for a month. Yeah. The problem was for this host that the 160 euros per night rate was really only about 30 euros above what she would normally get for renting the house out in the summer, had not that much impact from the Olympics, right? And so she was obviously disappointed. It may have improved for the hosts as the games approached. We're still waiting for some of that data. But another inflection point that was working against them was the sheer amount of people waiting to purchase tickets for the Olympics because they were waiting for the ticket prices to go down for the actual events themselves. So it seems like many visitors were waiting for a dip in ticket prices and waiting to double Dutch themselves into the competition. So therefore, they didn't want to plan a vacation and book a house or book a flat or an apartment. So Airbnb says that the 2024 games were still on track to become the biggest event in Airbnb's history.
Oh, they're lying.
Probably. But Parisians would argue that even with 15 million tourists pouring into the city for the games, over 13 million of them were French and staying with family or friends. So with the supply outmeasuring demand and tourists holding out for better ticket prices, that luxurious holiday Parisians were counting on was probably downgraded to simply a getaway for most of them.
There
like what I did there.
I said it. I love it.
Wow, a lot of disappointed Parisians.
How about that?
Holy cow. So do you think like that one woman that had to lower her rate, that probably happened across the board? I mean,
I would suspect so, yeah. There was way more supply than there was demand for Airbnbs.
Why do I love hearing that? I'm so evil.
I know.
I love hearing that.
I felt it was an important story to talk about because in a very...
Because you just try to gouge everyone when they're just trying to have fun. So it's like they kind of had to eat it.
Yeah, but in a few episodes, we are actually going to have on an Airbnb expert.
We are.
And listener and fan of the show, Stacy. So it'll be sort of interesting to see what the real deal is. Not so much with Paris, and I know that's sort of a one-off.
This like pains Stacy to hear this story. If she's listening right now, she's like, oh, because she's an Airbnb owner of several.
But I think Stacy's doing all right. So I'm eager to hear her weigh in on topics like this and others, everything related to rentals and Airbnbs in the near future. So that's it.
I feel like the people won in this story. Airbnb did not win. The people won.
Airbnb did not win. Parisians did not win.
No, Parisians. But
Parisian hosts
you
did
can't.
not win.
You know what though? You can't be a winner when you're charging $1,200 for a place that's only really $160 or $130.
Yeah.
So go jump off a building.
Yeah. So take that, France. Plus, we had more medals than anybody except China. We had as many gold medals as China.
Yeah, 40.
Yeah.
40 apiece.
Did you watch the Olympics?
All of it.
You did? What was your favorite sport?
The breakdancing.
No, you didn't. No.
I watched that live.
For comedy.
I watched it. No, I like that.
But they weren't any good.
The Australian woman was not good, but everybody else was good.
Do you think they were all good?
Yeah.
Oh, there was so much criticism.
I watched the
about
men's quarterfinals for about 10, 15 minutes.
It wasn't hood breakdancing.
No.
It was like 80s breakdancing.
Okay, somebody got on Facebook
was
and was
good.
complaining about it, somebody we know, and was like, oh, these aren't like the breakdancers in Venice, California. I'm like, okay, well, nobody is. You know what I mean?
No, but it was good. Obviously, the men's basketball, that was really cool.
Men's basketball was good.
Did you watch
Women's soccer?
Yeah, did you watch like Simone Biles like get all of her gold?
We watched it live. Yeah, we were watching it live. Yeah,
Yeah.
we watched it together live.
That's awesome.
Yeah, those girls did an amazing
It
job.
was.
So many American athletes did. People you didn't expect. The shot put guy, like, oh my gosh, he threw that. He threw a 16-pound shot. Like, we did the math. I think it was like 160 feet or something like that.
The French guy that got disqualified because of his dong.
Yeah. Yeah.
He may look. My one friend said he may have not won the medal, but he won the Olympics.
This is the Skip Town All Stars podcast.
It sound right, boy.